Hey everyone, thank you so much for stopping by. In this course, in this free course, we're going to talk about how to supercharge your productivity. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that actually are not very productive. They feel always busy, always constantly busy. But somehow comes the end of the year, the end of the month, the end of the week, and they don't feel that they have achieved as much as they would want to do. Why is this important? Because, well, year by year, if this carries on, you know, the end of your career becomes something very average, because most of the things that you really wanted to do, most of the things that you could have done, your full potential, would not be achieved. And you know, although seamless, this actually constitutes one of the major source of you know, dissatisfaction at work, and unhappiness in general. In order to be fulfilled, you want to feel like you're constantly progressing at a solid pace towards your dreams and goals. So this is really why you should watch this this free course. This is really why you should watch this course. In what I'm going to show you basically is you know, something that I've watched just recently. I've watched a motivational speaker, and he was saying that his dad used to tell him a story. His dad used to tell him a story whereby when, you know, they were walking and they saw someone at the veranda sitting with his dogs, and his dogs were groaning, they were not happy, and they were showing teeth, and then they were kind of angry, etc. And so the little boy asked his dad what was going on. So the dad asked the owner, the dog owner, and he said how he's just sitting on a nail. And the little boy was shocked. The dad said, well, why do you allow them to sit on a nail? He said, because that's not uncomfortable enough for them to move, so they're not moving. And you see, this really exactly highlighted what I want to say in this course, is the fact that we all constantly feel busy, but yet not achieving as much as we could, is like this little nail. It's not uncomfortable enough for people to actually move away and actually change their posture, so they remain in this situation feeling busy, feeling constantly busy, and nothing changes. Hopefully when you're going to choose this course, you are going to learn a few things that, if applied, could have, you know, a resounding effect on your entire career and life. So without further ado, let's begin. So you do understand the difference between being busy and being productive. Unfortunately, a lot of people confuse these two elements because we feel busy, and life is, for most of us, is at a high pace. You know, we have kids, we have, you know, work, we work late hours, we have commute time, we have kids time, we have those phone calls, those distractions, those Facebook, those friends and families and bills and all these worries, etc. And before the end of the day, we say, well, where did the time go? Before the end of the year, we say, oh my God, has it really been 1 year? So there's a massive difference between being busy and being productive. And most people confuse the two of these, okay? Because we are busy, most people you know, continue being busy, feeling that this is a good thing, okay? Because at the end of the day, you know, I used to tell my employees, look, you are busy, but you're not, you know, very effective at what you're doing. And sometimes people would be upset and would say, but I'm such a hard worker, Hamza. And it's not about not working hard, it's about how you work that leads to the result. So the real question that I have for you is, who do you work for, really? Who do you work for? Do you work for yourself or for your employer? And I'm not talking about, you know, working for yourself as in being an entrepreneur. No, I'm talking about throughout your day. If you look at each task, are they for your own career advancement? Are they for your own benefit, for your own fulfillment, or for others? I give you an example. You see, if today for me was busy with, the first thing I do is I check my emails. Second thing I do is that I call back some people from voicemails I've heard this morning. Let's just say these two activities would keep me busy because the emails would be asking me to do other things. And obviously I would coordinate with other people or send replies, etc. So they would extend to other activities. The voicemail, when I call back some clients or whatever, they would also extend some activities. Okay, so before I know it, I realized, wow, perhaps my morning is gone. Okay, but it just started with these two activities. Now, I've made a terrible mistake, and this is why I say, who do you really want to work for? Who do you really work for? Because when I check my emails, I check what others want of me. I don't actually start with what I want myself. There are so many people that start their day with checking their emails, and they act on these emails, and before they know it, they've been serving suppliers, colleagues, managers, clients, etc., but not them. They've been serving others, but not them. There's a clear connection between serving yourself and serving others, but you've got to always align your activities with your goals. So who do you really work for? Do you work for your goals, or do you work for your employer's goals? Do you work for your goals or your client's goals? Do you work for your goals or your colleagues' goals? Everyone's going to want a piece of you. Everyone's going to want something from you. And this is just the way it is. Your job is to make sure that it aligns with your goal. Very, very important is that you do not waste precious daylight, serving others with no impact on your career, with no impact on your fulfillment. This is extremely, extremely important. So essentially, who do you really work for means that, what I want everyone to choose to start doing is to actually set goals. We will talk about this, of course, because, if you don't have goals, you work for someone else's goals. You either have goals or you're working for someone else's goals. Okay, so this entire productivity course cannot work without setting up goals. But essentially, just remember this: do not confuse motion with progress. So even we're going to talk about goals in a second, but do not confuse motion with progress. A lot of people are busy and they really confuse it with productivity, with progress, with advancement. There's a huge difference, okay? It doesn't matter. You can take anyone in the world. Everyone has 24 hours a day. A lot of people have kids and are super busy. The issue is if you are progressing or not, okay? So this is the entire topic. In terms of productivity, it's about progress. It's not about motion. We're all doing fine with motion, okay? We're all doing fine with motion. And this is really the difference between being proactive and reactive. Okay, so I receive an email, I'm being reactive. If I reply, if I read, if I interrupt myself, I'm being reacting. If I receive an email, but I turn off the notification, I ignore it, I finish what I have because I know that what I have is first on my list. This is the one thing that will create the biggest impact on my day or week or whatever, then I'm being proactive. Even if it's attractive to just check things out, etc. Okay, so never confuse motion with progress. Ever confuse motion with progress. You see, I work in a recruitment company where I do very little business development calls. I don't need to. I do very little meetings, client meetings. I don't need to, because I streamlined absolutely everything. Absolutely everything. Things are scripted. Things work or don't work. But I hunt down time wasters like you have no idea. And whether they are called clients, colleagues, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Time wasters are the enemy to me, because this is where I get trapped in the motion trap. I get busy doing, but in fact, at the end of my day, I haven't progressed. So this is very, very important. Now, remember I told you we are going to talk about goals. I know that we should set SMART goals and, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic and time-bound goals, SMART goals, okay, SMART being an acronym. But honestly, I don't know for you, but with my clients, I'm a career coach, I'm a business coach. With my clients, it doesn't work. What works with my clients is when I talk to them about something I created called the FCSH goal. So, okay, I get that. It's not as, beautiful than SMART goal, but it works. FCSH stands for financial, career, social, and health. These are 4 elements that I really, really advise everyone to focus on. So financial goals. You see, most of us don't have a financial goal. We just go by our salary and we're happy to do that. And we're hoping that in the next career performance review or whatever, we have an opportunity to actually review this salary, renegotiate our salary. Career-wise, we are also not really knowing how to make our career advance in the right direction, not really knowing what we want. No, we're lost. We're absolutely lost. Social refers to people. So family time, what do you want in terms of your family? Do you want to take your little one at school? Do you want to spend time with your wife, your spouse? Do you want to spend time with quality friends? When, etc., etc. And health. And health is, of course, anything that relates to your health. So what are your health goals? How do you want to be when you are 80 years old? Do you want to be fit or not fit because you would have spent a life not worrying about your health, not sort of having a goal for your health? You see, the problem, like I said earlier, is that you either have a goal or you're working for someone else's goal. And you see, these are 4 areas that I would want you, before you start thinking about productivity, and this is the first technique, before you start talking about productivity, I want you to really focus on getting yourself a financial goal. Say to yourself, okay, from here till 12 months from now, how much money do I earn? How much money do I want? And of course, it's got to be realistic, but how much money do I want? Career. Once you have a career goal, obviously these 4 elements, financial, career, social, and health, are combined. Okay? It's not separate. They're all part of your life. So obviously one factor touches the other. It is really interdependent. Okay? So financial, once you say, okay, what I want to earn is that much, then suddenly you're going to realize, yeah, but the type of career that offer this is that I need to be in this industry, I need to be at this level, at this grade, etc. And so career and financial start connecting now. Social, when you say, oh, I want to be able to finish at this time, spend some time with the family, or work from home at least 1 day a week, or whatever it is, or have my own business and obviously take my daughter to school or pick her up from school or go to the pool whenever I want to with my daughter is social. Okay? And of course, my choice of career and my financials are going to be impacted by this choice as well. And finally, health. Okay, so essentially what you want to do is set FCSH goal. Please do not progress further in this course before you say to yourself, even if you change later, it's fine. But just scribble something down, just write something down, jot some notes down, and just say, hey, financial, here from 12 months to now, I want to be at. Or career, I want to be at. Social, this is what I want to spend my life doing, etc., etc. Because you see, in order to succeed in life, we have to start with the end in mind. We have to know where we're going. Without direction, without end destination, we can't set a direction. There's no way. There's just no way. So we have to determine what's the destination. Whether we arrive there earlier or later, it doesn't matter. What matters is that we set this direction, that it ends with a destination. Okay? I hope it makes sense. I really hope it makes sense. And that's techniques number 1. You know, people are, I want you to be very much, you know, I want you to be decisive, conscious about the choices you are going to make in this first step, because this could determine everything. It will determine everything. Okay, so please take a moment and actually set yourself some FCSH, some FCSH goals. Okay. Oh, by the way, if you're watching, I don't know how many people are watching because I don't have the visual on Facebook, by the way. But if you are watching, please say hi. I will definitely read the comments. And obviously, since I will read the comments at the same time as I will rewatch the video, I will understand if you have any questions. And hopefully, you know, I will be able to answer them. Okay. So keep this in mind. Okay. And by the way, this course is for you. So if at any point you have a question, this course is for you. Don't hesitate at all, at any moment. Okay. So Next is my second technique, is to have a daily list of things to do. You've got to develop this habit. You see, most people, when it comes to being busy or being productive, most people have just developed a habit of being busy, but not being productive. If you look at the difference between successful people and unsuccessful people, you will find that successful people have successful habits, and unsuccessful people have their habits to blame. We are creatures of habits, and what we have to determine is what are our habits. Hopefully this course is going to challenge you a little bit to review your habits. If you start your day with a daily list, or you do it the day before, it doesn't matter. It will immediately refocus your mind. It will give you a map for that day. Because let me tell you something, like the pilot of an airplane, when you drive, you've got some winds, you've got some things that are gonna take you away from your trajectory, from your destination, okay? And what's important is that you keep an eye on the map, because that's what the pilot does. Yes, there's some winds, there's this and that, but what he does is that he always corrects the course, always constantly corrects the course. And this is what a daily map, a daily plan does to you. A list of things, but beyond that, you want to prioritize all of these elements in the list in line with your goals. Remember, you have some financial, career, social, and health goals. So you obviously want to put the activities that will have the biggest impact on your goals. Okay? You want to start your day with automation and delegation. There's always a way to automate things. You know, the simplest way to automate things is to, for example, create a series of email templates. A series of email templates that you're going to create once, but that you realize that you can use all the time. So, for example, 3, 4, 5, 6 different types of email templates that you're just going to use and reuse. This is a powerful time-saving and automation techniques. Another way is to work in teams. If you are a manager, is to make sure that you delegate. We will talk about delegation obviously in a future slide, so don't worry about this. I will give you a few tips to delegate effectively so that it saves your time and you're more productive on the things that matter to your goals, okay, to you. All right. The other thing about the daily list is that what I always advise is that you do the hardest task first. There are always, those difficult tasks, like calling a client that is not happy, then do it first. Do it first. The problem is that our brain nags at us. Our brain nags at us and we procrastinate. We constantly procrastinate. We say, oh, we don't want to call that client. Let him cool down a little bit. Oh, I'll call him later, but now I'm driving him mad because I'm not returning his call, etc. Look, if this is a big deal, that's really hard, get rid of it. Get rid of it. Especially if it has the power to influence your goals, okay? Your career or whatever. If it's hard, do it. If it's a report that your boss is waiting for, then, I would say make sure you challenge that a little bit, because your day, if you spend, say, a quarter of your day doing a report, is this a good use of your time? Is this a good use of your time? Is there any way that you could perhaps automate, delegate some parts of the report and for you to put things together instead? So do think about this, but essentially the hardest task first, The beautiful thing about starting with the hardest thing first, I got this from a book from Brian Tracy, by the way. It's called Eat That Frog, if you want to read it. But he says you start by eating that frog. So the ugliest, biggest, most boring thing, basically. Because the way you feel after that is that everything else is easier. Everything else is fun, is funnier than the one that you just have. And of course, it has this advantage of, boosting your motivation, your happiness. You have a sense of achievement. So start with the hardest things first. Now, these things that I'm sharing with you are the habits of highly successful people. They really prioritize in line with their goals, not in line with what they have to do. You see the example of the report. Even if the manager is asking me for a report, I've got to find a way to not use my daylight time, my prime time, or most of it, or some of it, doing this report, because it doesn't really align with my FCSH goal. Try to automate, delegate, and do the hardest things first. Do the things that scare you the most, do the things that are the most boring or whatever, okay? And then complete each task before you start a new one. That's very, very important. Oftentimes we get into the trap of accepting another task and say, okay, I'm just going to pause this one, I'm going to do it. Okay, let me just reply to this guy. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Task by task. Okay, task by task. You will feel amazing. And I will add one more tip when it comes to the daily list, is that research have shown that having a daily list and crossing things over when you have done them increases the level of dopamine in your brain. Dopamine is the neurotransmitter of responsible for motivation. So in fact, having a list and going through it, feeling that we are progressing and crossing things over, is actually keeping your mind regenerating this dopamine, this motivation, chemical that we all need. Okay, so keep this in mind. This is really, really powerful. Again, in order to form a habit, you will need 21 days at least. So it's not going to be easy if you've never done a list, or if you do it sporadically. It's not going to be easy to sort of stick to this. What you need to really focus on is, hang on a minute, if it's important, I'm going to list it, and I'm going to work on my list and prioritize things, etc., etc. I'm going to see what I can delegate. But you need to do this 21 days, because let me tell you, even if you do it today and tomorrow, after tomorrow, old habits die hard. They're going to come back, and you're going to go through your day the way you used to for so long. So if you haven't done a list, just give yourself 21 days of suffering, where you say to yourself, you program your mind saying, it's going to be painful to break the old habits for 21, 22, 25 days. But I know that if I pass this 21, 25 days kind of period, I'm going to form a new habit, and it's going to be second nature. My brain is not going to challenge it, and it's going to be really a habit of successful people. That's what I hope for you. Okay? Next, number 3, the third technique is to learn to focus. So we touched upon this, but essentially focusing means removing distractions. We live in a world of distractions. we live in a world of distractions. So whether it's a colleague, whether it's notifications on our computer, on our smartphones, we have distractions all over the place. Whether it's people that are shouting out there, it's distractions upon distractions. And it's extremely important that you decide, you literally make a decision to turn off this distraction. So don't open your emails. Leave that off. Leave that closed. I mean it. There will be some specific time you'll be checking your emails, but do not allow that sound, those beeping and those notifications disturb you, distract you. Don't allow that. You're the guardian of your day. And the moment you actually use an email not as a constantly open window, but as something you go to when you have planned for it, then it works. Look, it's extremely rare that you have a life or death email where if you don't, do something within the next 5 minutes, something terrible happens. Come on. It's never that urgent. It never is that urgent. I've been working for 17 years. Never ever have I had an email where if I didn't act immediately, something terrible was going to happen. Ever. Okay, so remove distractions. WhatsApp, Facebook, all of these, computer notification, all of these things, remove them. I mean it. I'm serious. But not only that, also learn to say no to disturbers. Learn to say no to disturbers. There are some people who just can't stop talking. They can't try to be funny. They really ask for your opinion. Hey man, how you doing? Listen, just wanted to ask you something. Can I ask you a question? It's We are bombarded with this, but let me tell you, these people are responsible for you staying later during that day, spending less time with the people that count. You know, that social goal. And you can't afford that. You've got to make a decision on who's more important. Is it your kid's wife? Is it your friends, your life after work? Or is it this colleague that wants to crack a joke or two? You've got to make a decision, a conscious decision about this phone call that you receive. Is this important? You know, is this important? Do you have to pick it up? Do you have to pick it up? Don't you have a voicemail just for that? You know, one time there's someone that said to me, Hamza, it's hard when you have a colleague that comes and say, oh, I have something to tell you, whatever, whether it's work related or not, it's hard to just ditch it. And I gave him a technique that I'm going to share with you. When someone comes to your desk, stand up, and just say, yes, tell me quickly. I'm about to go. Just make it as if you were going somewhere. Okay? Stand up. If you stay sitting, he's going to speak to you and you're not going to be able to move. Okay? Stand up the moment as if you were just transitioning, you were just going somewhere anyway. Okay? Or pick up the phone. Okay? So that's really, really important. You know, one of the techniques that you can do, for example, is if you have a landline, just, you know, keep the landline, if you don't want to be disturbed, keep the landline out of, you know, not hanging up, but on the table. So that if someone comes, you say, yeah, I found the document, and just pretend. And just say, sorry, is this urgent? Is this urgent? Can we speak later? Is that okay? Sorry. And then keep talking. These things are going to allow people to realize, hang on, every time I go to this person, he never has time. They will stop coming. They will stop coming if you start applying these techniques. And I'm serious. They're not more important than your life after work. This is your health goal. Remember, okay? Another point is create deadlines. So deadlines is, for example, when you commit in a meeting to everyone, in front of everyone, okay, I'll do this by this time, okay? The fact that you feel everyone knows is called peer pressure, and you feel like everyone is expecting something of you is enough of an emotion to keep you going, okay? So in other words, jump off the cliff. Commit before you actually do, okay? Promise something that you feel you can deliver. It's completely okay. Another way to create deadlines, I remember when I started my career in recruitment, we used to do a lot of competition. You know, in recruitment, you have to call a lot of companies. So I used to call a lot of companies to try and sell our services, our recruitment services, etc., etc. And, you know, to keep sort of track and not being distracted, we would set up, you know, those games between us, those competition. And we would say, okay, first person who reaches that many calls, or first person who gets a job, or first person who holds a client and gets this information, or whatever, okay? So we were, and that allowed us to create deadlines, to create sort of, because there would be an end time at the game. So it's got to be before 12 o'clock. It's got to be before 3 o'clock. And of course, everyone is going to be down because there's deadlines. Okay, so of course, when there's emails that come to you, when there's distractors that come to you, when there's disturbers, you obviously know, I'm going to lose the game, of course. And you want to put something, this is what I call jump off the cliff. You want to put something you lose if you don't make it. So for example, you pay lunch, you pay coffee, you pay something small, but it's just for game. But this is the type of teams, of habits, of people that actually have great influence on a company. This is the type of people that actually have a tremendous effect on their career, okay? So that's essentially it. And the final thing, and I will give you a tool. By the way, if you stay until the end, I have put together a series of 8 to 10 free tools, productivity tools, that are surely also going to revolutionize your desk, your computer, etc. Powerful tools, and I promise you they are free. So stay until the end. Another point is that So there are free tools at the end of this course for you to download, obviously. Now you can get the PDF to download. If you send me a WhatsApp, if you send me a private message, and if you invite your friends to this group, then please, by all means, you can ask me for the PDF of this course and I will give it to you. Okay, keep this in mind if you're interested, because there's a lot of links to these tools as well that you could really use, plus the entire PDF of what we're going through as well. Okay, so this is available. I don't know if this is interesting. Again, I don't have a visual on your comments, but please do say if it's interesting, and just send me a private message and I'll send you the PDF if you have invited your friends to like this group. So you can do that, by the way, with just a mobile phone. So open the group on the mobile phone. So you open Name Your Career, and then you will see Add, and then it's just super easy. You just tick the boxes of the friends that you want to add to this group, and you're done. And they can benefit to with these free courses as well. Okay, so back to the course. Put a timer on. The fact that we see time going by is powerful mentally. It really is powerful mentally. It stresses me, because the worst thing that stresses me is when the morning goes, or the afternoon goes, or 3 hours has gone, or 1 hour is gone, and I don't know where it's gone. With a timer that is visual, I always keep track on the time. And of course, I set alarms. So I do set alarms every 25 minutes, just to remind me, oh, it's been 25 minutes. Oh, it's been 25 minutes. And this is really interesting, guys. Okay, so keep this in mind. The other thing that I want to share with you now is to schedule everything. I love when people say I don't have time. You remember the difference between being busy and productive, right? I love when people say they don't have time. They don't have time. The thing is, if it's important to you, you will have time. If it's not important to you, you will do other things instead of that, okay? It's just, at the end of the day, it's a question of which activity you choose to do. So we tend to do what we are used to and the things that pleases us the most. We tend to do that. Leaving the things that are the most necessary, leaving them for the end, and usually not being done. And this is where the productivity trap comes. We feel busy, so there's no issues, right? We're working hard, and we give the impression, the perception that we are working, so all good in the hood. But in terms of results, we're not getting there. We're not satisfied with the way our life is. Schedule things. Block times. That's what I mean by schedule things. Just create blocks of time that are non-negotiable. What do I mean? If something is important to me, I'm going to set it up between 1 o'clock and, so for example, doing these free courses is important to me. So doing these courses is important to me. So I block time to do it. I'm not going to give myself excuses. There's many excuses that I can use. I have 2 companies, I have more than one reason not to be able to do this, okay? But it's important to me, so I'm doing it. I block time. If it's important to you, you will do it. I do not believe people that says, I don't have time. Doesn't make sense. People that say I don't have time, look, what it means is that I did not schedule that because it's not as important than other activities to me. That's what it means, okay? Because we all have the same time, okay? So create blocks of time is my number 4 technique. Create blocks of time that are non-negotiable. It's funny, you want to succeed, but when it comes to your diary, it's blank. Having a to-do list is not enough. You want to say to yourself, okay, every day, this is important to me. I'm going to create blocks of time. This is non-negotiable. I would not pick up the calls. You can try and call me in the evening, for example, blocks of time. You can try and call me on Friday, blocks of time. This is reserved for my family. Okay, and I do have a lot of urgent things that actually can wait the following day easily. Everything is urgent. But remember, I work for my goals. financial, career, social, health. Okay, so my family here, blocks of time. Otherwise, there's no way. And usually what I do is I put my phone away. I put my phone away. That's what you want to do as well. So I create blocks of time that are non-negotiable. And this works as well the other way around. When I work. If there's a time there where I need, to do some training to my team or whatever, this is non-negotiable. If it's important to me, if it's important to my career, etc., then so be it. Create blocks of time. Just, you want to have, today we are full of technologies where we have, calendar applications that connect to our smartphone and computers and everything, but it's blank. It's blank. What's the point? We just have appointments. No, use it to create blocks of time that are super important. Show me your calendar. By extension, I will tell you if I feel that you're going to be successful or not. If your calendar is full of, I'm meeting with this client, I'm meeting with this person, and I have a doctor appointment, then look, no way. But if you have some proactive, some important things that you're just blocking some time, you're writing a book, you're blocking some time. Okay? Doesn't matter. You say to yourself, this is it. From 12 to 2 every day, I'm doing this, regardless to what happens. Maybe not every day, twice a week, 3 times a week, but regardless to what happens, if you don't respect your time, give yourself the respect, the priority that you deserve, then why would you want your objective to be met? Why would you want your goals to be met? Your job is to create blocks of time that are non-negotiable. It's your time. No one else's. You decide what to put in it. Okay, so that's very important. And again, this is really to start withdrawing from this busy state to the productive state. Very, very important. Number 5, we talked about this. We essentially need to make sure the biochemistry of our body is positive. What is motivation? What is passion? It's chemicals. It's chemicals. And it happens all here. So the way we conduct our life is in line with our health goals, but on top of this has a tremendous effect on the rest of our life. So, of course, you want to do some sport. And don't give me any excuse. You can do some sport at home. You can do, you can just wear pair of trainers and go out and run, have your bicycle and run. It doesn't matter. You can go to the gym. It doesn't matter. But you've got to exercise. You've got to look after your body because, I remember my brother, actually, he lives in Toronto, and he said to me, Hamza, what we're doing now is actually impacting what we're going to be in 20 years. Oftentimes I see people, for example, heavy smokers. They're heavy smokers. And they say, look, I'm fit, I'm fine. I've been smoking for, like this for 5 years. And look at me. I run, I play football, I'm fine. What people don't realize is that they are just building the future, not their present. Their present is actually the result of their past. So 20 years before, 15, 20 years before, they were not smoking, and now they are benefiting from these health advantages, even while they're smoking. But because they're smoking, they're building a dark future. Look after yourself. Biochemistry, motivation, building your future, health. What's the point of having a beautiful career, beautiful family, time with friends and family, and fantastic financials if your health doesn't allow you to enjoy it? What's the point? It's pointless. So you want to look after yourself. Now remember, I know I don't have time. I don't know what to do. I know all this is absolute nonsense, and you know it now. You have a calendar, use it, block the time if it's important to you. Okay. Number 2, sleeping. This is something that I'm guilty of sometimes. I'm not sleeping enough. And I realize that I'm not as young as I used to, and that I've got to look after myself. So my wife is here reminding me very often that I have to sleep. And this is really, really important. So, you know, did you know, for example, that a lot of people in history used to have a nap? There's a lot of cultures that have naps as part of their working systems. You know, the Arab ways, you know, the days, the working hours before were between 8 and 1, and then from 4 to 8 or something like that. Okay, so they would have this time, and you will find this in Spain as well, which I assume they could have got from the sort of Arabic Islamic era in Spain. Okay, where they have the la siesta. Winston Churchill used to have a nap every day after lunch. Sleeping is amazing. It releases the toxins. It cleans up your brain from the negative toxins, from the bad things. It's like this amazing. Did you know that there's a liquid actually that goes all over your brain and cleans up everything? And when we wake up, we have this liquid that is self-absorbed. So it's like having a completely fresh mind when you wake up, and you only need 40 minutes. You don't need more. Okay, so please keep this in mind. It's not just about going for lunch for an hour and a half. What's the point? Eat your sandwich, eat your food, be healthy, and that's fine. But you know, if you're tired, just make sure you give your body some rest. You give your brain some rest. You will be more effective. And of course, healthy eating. You know, my wife is amazing, because without her, I wouldn't eat that healthy, because I never paid attention to that. You know, I'm a boy, and I just, but you know, she educated me so much about this, so much so that we are, you know, right now 90% of what we're eating is organic. 90%. We don't spend much. No, this is just a, you know, a fake thing that, you know, reputation that if you eat organic, you spend too much money. That's just not true at all. We buy in proportion. Yes, that's fine. But we eat quality. All this affects my biochemistry. I'm constantly, because I have health goals. There's no point for me to killing myself now. And, you know, if I'm not going to be healthy enough to sort of play with my daughter when she's a little bit older. So what's the point? What's the point? Okay, this is now, remember, you're building your future. Remember, you're building your future. That's technique number 5. And this is what most people do, by the way. Name me one successful person that doesn't do these things, that doesn't look after these 3 very, very core elements. In fact, name me one of the successful person that you know that doesn't really have at least 5 out of the 7 techniques that I'm sharing with you. Okay? Number 6, count your dead times. What do I call dead times? We have plenty of dead times. Plenty of dead times. I came to realize this when I was, you know, I always listen to audiobooks. I realized that I had more and more time to actually listen to these audiobooks, and which was impressive. So I realized that we have in our day, as busy as one can be, we have tons of dead times that could be used. So for example, the travel, the commute time, we can wake up earlier, you know, choose to wake up 1 hour earlier. You'll see how much stuff you get done. You see how less stressed you go to work. You see how much, you know, quality me time, silent time you can get. You can, you know, meditate, you can do your exercise, you can do things. Just wake up early. We can create this kind of time, okay? Also, you know, all these waiting and the queuing time, okay? So I always have, you know, my headset, because on my phone, I have subscribed to those audiobooks. And I always have things I'm listening. So when I hit the queue, or when I pull out a ticket and I'm the 25th in the queue, doesn't matter to me. I just put my, you know, my earphones on, and I go and learn things. You know, when I drive, I learn things. It's fascinating how people love listening to music and radio. Such a waste of time. Now, I'm not saying you should stop doing that. But I'm saying, if you only do that, I mean, if you have half an hour going to work, half an hour going back, let's say there's no traffic, it's half an hour all the time, that's 1 hour a day, 5 multiplied by 5 working days, that's 5 hours. 5 hours a month is, let's say, 22 hours, let's say 20 hours. 20 hours in a year, that's 240 hours. 240 hours is what? Half of a master's degree in terms of hours. How many books can you read, can you listen to in 240 hours? Do you see why successful people are successful? Is that they just grow at a massive pace. They just grow at such a massive pace. While, you know, the rest of people are just listening to radio and their favorite song, etc. They just focus on their dead times. And you know, for them it's not work, it's actually pleasant. They enjoy knowing more about this or that. So if you're on social media, if you're a social media manager, listen to audiobooks all the time. You've got those dead times working for you. Soon enough, after 1 or 2 years, you'll be so expert and knowledgeable in your field that, you know, the rest of the market will you know, struggle to catch up, to be honest. Okay, you'll get the best results because you will come across the best techniques, you will know more, you'll be better. Is this better for your goals? You know, does it increase the pace of your career? Does it increase your financials? Because obviously the better you are, the better results you have, the more, you know, opportunities come your way, obviously career-wise, and the more money comes your way as well, etc., etc. So this is what I mean. So what do you want to do with these dead times? Obviously, we talked about learning new things that will help you achieve your goals, of course, but also working on your to-do list. You see, the to-do list that we talked about on technique number 1 is actually something that is always constantly work in progress. This is like your masterpiece of the day. You've got to nail this. You've got to always think, I'm running late for this. Maybe if I can ask DDD to do it for me so that I can cross that one over. Yeah, I'll try now. Hi, I need a favor. You know, you can reshuffle these things. And of course, you can catch up on things that, like, do some calls. You know, when I drive, that's one of the things that I do when I don't want to listen to any audiobook, for example. One of the things that I do is that I call back people. I don't pick up the phone when I'm busy because that's my blocks of time. These are, you know, I don't want to be distracted. But when I'm actually, you know, free, what I do is that when I drive, for example, I call people back and I tell them, hey, I'm actually calling you while I drive. I can't stay very long. Usually, obviously, I have, you know, these Bluetooth thingies, of course, but essentially when they know that you drive, they're not going to keep you too long. And I'm able to actually do 2 or 3 or phone calls. And I hope you're starting to see how, you know, deliberate I am with my day and my productivity. I'm extremely deliberate, extremely deliberate. Okay, so do some calls. Also reply to emails or WhatsApp messages or calls or any types of messages, by the way, text messages or whatever. Okay, this is what I do. Obviously, I don't do that while driving. But if I'm in a queue in a bank, in whatever, where, you know, I can check my emails, I do reply, of course. Okay, so it's just to show you what can be done. The last technique that I want to talk to you about is about automating and delegating. Automating and delegating. This is really powerful, and you know, it takes precedence on my to-do list. On my to-do list, I'm always gonna keep thinking, I'm going to be obsessed by what can be automated, delegated. I'm going to be obsessed at processes and systems that could be really working for me without my interaction, even if I have to spend more time building them. Okay, so, you know, I told you to set your goals. That's your number 1 technique. I told you set up your goals. One of your goals is the financial goal. How much do you want to earn in 12 months? How much do you want to earn in 5 years? Now, if I say I want to earn X in 1 year, then I'm going to divide X by the number of hours that constitute, and I'm going to say, okay, so my paid hour is worth X. And this is how I'm going to decide what should be delegated or automated. So for example, if I say to myself, in 1 year time, my hour is going to be worth $200 per hour. I'm just going to say that. Why? Because I don't want to do too many hours, because I have also some family goals where I want to spend some time with the family, etc., etc. So I'm going to say, okay, my hour is worth 1 hour. Is worth $200 per hour. It's not a lot. Okay, it's just an example. But if I say that, then suddenly doing some data entry on a database is no longer something that is worth $200 an hour. Suddenly, I'm going to start thinking, hang on, can't keep doing that. I need to act before my $200 an hour happens. I need to make sure I unclutter my day with those low value time spent. Okay? I need to make sure what I actually do has a huge impact on my life. Otherwise, I'll be just continuously doing the wrong things. And I feel busy, and I feel like, oh my God, wait, I don't have time. Oh my God. But in fact, I'm not being productive, okay? So I draw this from my financial goal. That's why setting up goals is very important, okay? And then I make decisions to automate or delegate based on that, okay? So I love the fact that right at this moment, there are things that are working for me. I have freelancers that are working for me. They are preparing all sorts of things for me, and thanks to this, I'm able to do what I'm doing now. I have a team that's working for me, that's looking after clients and candidates. There's some interviews to organize, etc., etc. There's always a lot of things that are constantly working for us, okay? And this is really important. You see, we have a nanny and a maid, not because I'm someone that doesn't want to clean or anything. It's because the time spent is not, something I want to do, because I could spend time doing something more valuable. So I'm happy to spend money so that I can spend time doing something more valuable. That's where I make profit. I hope it makes sense. Right now, our maid is cleaning the house so I can be here. And there's a lot of things that are being automated. A lot of things that are being, you see, when we talked about, let's say sending emails to prospective clients. I'm sorry, but sending emails is not something that requires me. Anyone can do that. So I'm going to set up an email address that is mine. I'm going to give access to some freelancers. And I'm going to give them a list and tell them, send them an email. And I will see when I receive a reply. If I receive certain type of reply, I'm going to tell, the freelancer, hey, you know what? If you receive this kind of reply, you can send them one of these 3 emails. This one if this, this one if this, this one if this. And that's it. And I'm going to have this working for me. How much is that? It could be as low as $5 to $10 per hour. How many emails can you send in an hour? How much data entry can you do in 1 hour? That's what I do. That's what I do. I delegate. You see, there's a saying that says, if your fist remains closed, the money can't escape, but the money can't get in either. You see, and a lot of people, they are so worried about letting go of a bit of money that they just can't receive more. They feel busy and trapped. Okay, so that's essentially what I want to share with you. And you want to think about systems in place. There are formulas and recipes for success. Your day is the prototype of your life, is the 1 unit success of your life, the success unit of your life. If you have good days, you're going to have good weeks and good months and good years. And soon enough, you're going to be the best version of yourself. So that's really, really important. I hope it makes sense, by the way. Think systems. 1 day is the success unit. So think processes and document them. Don't tell people, hey, I just want to delegate this. Can you do this for me? No. Document them so that there can't be any mistake. If you can't document it, you're not serious about this. Document it. Step 1, go there, do this, say that. Step 2, pick up what he said and just do that and do that. Step 3, document things. Don't expect that people understand what's in your mind. There's always a gap between what you say and what they understand. Document it. The more you have this documentation, the more you can sleep, at peace. You can have your nap at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. You can do this because you've got documents. There's not going to be arguments afterward if someone doesn't do it because it's documented. No, look, that's step number 3. But you see, just before step 2, I told you to do this. You skipped that. Oh, okay. No problem. People learn. But the fact that you document is essential if you want to delegate. It's funny how people, tell people to do things, but then it's not done the right way, and people are perfectionists and they want to do it themselves. I'm a perfectionist, one of the biggest perfectionists you will ever meet. And trust me, it's always an inner struggle to let go of things, because I just feel that I have more control. I can do it better. It's always the same. But let me tell you something. You can't grow. You are stuck, prisoner, if you do that, if you allow yourself to do that. Now, I highly recommend documenting, but if documentation is not an option, then what I highly recommend is to make the other person summarize. So once you explain, say, hey, so just so that we're on the same line, can you repeat to me what you understand from what I want? And then if this is your checkpoint, okay? This is so that you see if things are working your way or not, okay? Very important. You see, I create a lot of videos because when I explain something, I have recordings and videos, etc. So that when I explain it once, I keep it in a library. So that when people ask me, boom, I send them a video. I can tell you right now, if you're looking for work, tell me. I have the most amazing videos that could literally change your your job search results in no time at all. If you're looking for salary negotiation, if you're looking for you're joining a new job and you want to do the right thing the first 3 weeks or whatever, this is it. I have videos. I don't need to answer, and that's why even on Facebook, on all of these things, people come to me and I do send them links and videos of things that I've created in the past. I create things so that they are automated and they can work for me. Right at this moment, this video that you're watching is going to be watched by hundreds of people, thousands of people, I hope, while I will be doing something different. Automating and delegating is an art. It's not going to come to you the first time. You're going to have to review it and review it and review it, okay? So hopefully it makes sense. Don't worry if you don't automate and delegate everything. Again, the fact that you're constantly reviewing your daily list is going to push you to constantly think about this. Remember that I can share with you the PDF of this course if you want to. The only thing you have to do is send me a private message and say, hey, I invited my friends. You can check it out to this group. Why? Because I want to touch as many people as possible. I want my messages to reach as many people as possible. I have Thierry who's actually recording, doing the live presentations and all this. Without him, I can't do much. And, our only chance to actually reach out to a lot of people and to have an impact on their life is through you. So we're happy to give our courses for free, even the PDF of this course for free, if you are helping us just doing that. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Just invite your friends to this group, add them to this group. That's all. And then send me a private message and say, hey, just added a lot of friends to my group. Please send me the PDF. I'm going to send them to you because I'm going to, on this list, there is also a list of free productivity tools that I'm going to tell you a little bit about. Unfortunately, we won't be able to show you each tool, but each of these things are clickable. So you can click them and you can go ahead and visit them, okay? So for example, Rescue Time. Rescue Time is this thing where you sign up for free and then you set it up on your smartphone, on your computer, on all the devices that you use. And what it does is that every single day, every single week, it tells you what's the percentage of time you spend on Facebook, what's the percentage of time you spend busy working, what's the percentage of time you spend on your emails, and it gives you a real reality check of your day. Because most people that are trapped in the busy lifestyle, they just feel like they always, most of the time, doing important things. So rescue time is free. You can set it up on all the devices, and it's really, really powerful, really, really powerful. Okay. Another point is Google Keeps. So I love Google Keeps. I love Google Staff, to be honest, because it's free. Most of the time it's free. And Google Keeps is this to-do list. It's really great. You can set up different, categories like a shopping list or a to-do list, a daily list, or whatever. Okay, and you can have it on your mobile. You can always cross things over. You can always reprioritize. It's easy. I love it. I absolutely love it. And it's cross-device, so it doesn't matter where you are or on. And the other thing I like is sometimes I'm writing a book, for example, or I'm devising a training for my team or whatever. I do have ideas, and sometimes, the things with ideas is that they do pop up anytime. And sometimes while I drive or whatever. And what I use is something called OneNote or Evernote. Evernote is more famous, is more known than OneNote. OneNote is Microsoft, Evernote is Evernote, but OneNote is Microsoft, Evernote. Both are very, very similar. I have used Evernote a lot. You can record, for example, while you're driving. I can say, okay, this is just talked about the story of the book. We can do that, and it saves automatically. You can write things. You can take pictures of whatever, scans, whatever. When I read books, for example, and I want to forget them, I obviously take specific notes on Evernote. So on Evernote or OneNote, these are very, very similar again. Then I can go to a book I've read 10 years ago, and I would have exactly some pictures of pages, if there's any graph or anything that I want to take, or some sentences or some whatever. Okay, so just really, really cool productivity tools. Another element that, to be honest, without this, I wouldn't be able to do what I do with my recruitment company. It's called Trello. Trello is a collaboration tool. Now, every time I talk about Trello, a lot of people that do use collaboration tools, they say, oh no, we're already using something else. I bet you, I challenge you to use Trello. I've used a lot of these tools. Trello is by far the best tool there is. I don't have any share on Trello. Trello is free, so I'm not an affiliate of Trello or anything. But I can tell you when something is powerful like Trello. You see, the great thing about delegating is counting also on your team to do their job. But your team wants to know in real time what's going on. Trello allows you to do that. You go on YouTube and watch one video about how to set up Trello. By the way, my 4-year-old daughter could do it almost. Not quite yet. But honestly, it's extremely, extremely easy. If you have a team, if you're on a project, give it a go. You will thank me. Trust me on that, okay? So please don't worry, by the way. Again, ask me for the PDF. Just add your friends, ask me for the PDF, and you will have the list. Upwork, remember when I told you that I have freelancers that at the moment are editing videos to me, that are getting some email addresses for me, some lead generation. They are working for me while I'm doing other things like this. Then I find these freelancers on Upwork. You can go to Upwork.com and actually hire your own freelancer. What about social media? There are tons of tools, but I've just mentioned these two because, one, they are known, very, very much known. But on top of this, their free version is good, really good. If you are into marketing, sales, or whatever, and you have an activity over social media, use these because they automate everything for you. You just schedule, let's say, an article, a picture, a video, and you say, okay, send it to this group at this time, etc., and do that with all my groups and do LinkedIn, etc., and it does it for you. You don't have to. You set it up once and then that's it. It's done for you. These are things that work for you in the background as we speak. In fact, the message for you that you may have received for you to actually be present in this course, in this live course, has been scheduled. I've done that, and it's a robot that has done the rest, that has put it in other groups, etc., etc. Of course, that's what I mean by being productive. At that time, I don't know what I was doing. I was with my family or doing something else for me. The other thing, remember I told you about having a timer that allows you to keep track on the time, to constantly be on your screen. Well, the two that I used to use is Tomato Timer and Marina Timer. They're both free, of course. You just start them off and they just give you 25 minutes at a time, okay? So this is for you, and please feel free to ask me for the PDF if you want. Please feel free to click share on this course so that other people can see this. You see, I'm really trying to create an impact. There's so many of us that are, not me, but many people that are not happy, that are not doing their full potential, that are not, they're stressed at work, they feel they are busy, but they are not advancing. And every day, every year, at the end of the year, they have these resolutions and they say, no, this is the year I'm going to do this. This is your year where I'm going to spend more time with the family. This is the year where I'm going to do this and do that. I'm going to give you so much free courses on how to make money and how to be productive and how to find jobs and how to rewrite your CV and how to negotiate with your employer, how to set up a company, and how to everything that you're going to thank yourself. But I need your help. I need your help, because without you sharing this, it will remain prisoner in our groups just for us. And we're not building an individualistic group. We're building a group of people that are, generous and want to share. So please help me share this course. Just click on share. That's all you have to do. And if you add your friends to this group, then please ask me for the PDF. It will be my pleasure and honor to send you that. Okay, that's pretty much it. Listen, I thank you very, very much for all the time you have spent watching this. I hope it wasn't too long. I hope it was useful. I would highly advise that you re-watch this again. By the way, this course is not going to stay on this group forever. You want to definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel, because this is where I'm going to keep the library of courses for you. Okay, just go to Name Your Career on YouTube and you will be able to subscribe. Okay, so that's pretty much it, everyone, and thank you so much. Thank you, Cherry, for helping with this live show and broadcasting it, and thank you for taking the time to watch this. My name is Hamza Zawali. I work for nameyourcareer.com, and I can't wait for the next course. Thank you so much if you add your friends. Thank you so much if you share as well, and if you help me sort of reach out more people with these positive courses. Thanks a lot, and speak to you soon. Thank you very much. Bye bye.